Okay, we have to wait. I was always told that we have to wait until we see somebody. Make me
Oh no, you can start
you
talking.
make me so nervous. Okay. Whew. Hey, you guys.
Hey.
Let me start out by saying I really, 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 really appreciate the shout outs I got for my birthday. Lots and lots and lots of love from you guys. And I truly, truly appreciate it because I'm not going to lie to you guys. I had no idea if I would even make it to my birthday with everything that has been going on and with all the truth that has been surfacing in regards to my brother. And so to actually see that day was a blessing for me. And then to actually see that I had so much love from my Facebook friends and family was really, really amazing. So thank you guys for the love. Thank you guys for the shout out. I totally, totally appreciate it to each and every last one of you guys. Thought about each and every last one of you guys while I was away. So thank you. Um, Today I wanted to do something a little different. I actually have two guests here. Um, we have my best friend. I'm sorry, my best friend. No, not my best friend. Well, she is. She's close. I love her. My sister, and she's actually my sister. Her name is Deanna Manning. So, yeah.
Hi.
And then we have her best friend here, which is Keisha.
Hey people.
You guys, I invited these guys on one because they actually went. Well, my sister went and celebrated my birthday with me during the week that I was away, and so then she decided to come back home with me and give me a little bit more love and nurturing because I so needed it. So she came back home with me, and we have something in common um, that we both share, and that is a loss of a brother. And not the same brother that we've been discussing on my channel, which is Donald Ray Manning Jr. Not him. We don't have him in common. We just have a loss of a brother in common. Donald Ray Manning Jr. is my biological brother. And Susie, you want to share who your brother is?
Grant.
Who?
Grant.
Grant. His name is Grant.
Woo.
She calls him Wu. And Sissy, where are you from?
I'm from Milwaukee.
And so, and when did you lose your brother?
2017.
2017. I remember when she lost her brother. But let me back up a little. The reason I'm doing this segment is basically because um, I've been getting some comments, and some messages where people have been trying to encourage me, to let it go, to just move on. Um, and then there's some people who don't understand, um, why people hold on to losses or why people mourn losses or grieve losses differently. And the reason I'm doing this segment is to say, one, that it's okay that you handle your loss the way you handle your loss, and that people do grieve differently and people do handle, death differently. And so I thought, well, you know what? My sister and I, we share, the similarity in losing a brother. And I noticed that we grieved it differently. And so I just wanted to, share this segment and saying there's no right and wrong way there's no right and wrong way to deal with your losses, to deal with death. Um, and we're just going to shed some light on how differently our losses were. And you may even see some similarities. We may even notice while sharing this with you some similarities because we did not go and discuss this or anything. I just asked, was it okay if I invited them on today? And they shared with me that it was fine. I have Keishan here because when you're dealing with, or when an individual is dealing with a loss, their friends and their family members, they also have an effect from that loss. They also feel a certain way in regards to watching their loved one go through, the pain and suffering and the hurt and the brokenness from losing a lost one. And so I wanted to also get, some feedback from Keishan. How was that to see his best friend actually go through that process? Because some people, when you're not so closely connected to the situation, you think, oh, man, every death just happens. It's one of those things you're supposed to expect. And I'm sorry, but I'm one of those people where I feel like, if it's a natural cause, or if it's a disease, something of that nature, then to me, it's unfortunately it's a little bit easier to deal with, or if it is in fact, a tragic accident, that too may be, a little bit more, easier to deal with than to deal with a death by the hands of, others, you know, that then it becomes a little bit more emotional. It becomes a little bit more traumatic, and it does have an effect on your, on your spirit. And so that's the reason I decided to bring this episode to the channel and to actually go through the process. And so that those people who are messaging me and wanting to understand why I don't just let it be, can get a better view of how I feel about what I'm going through, or how I feel about, what I experienced with learning about my brother's death and everything that has taken place. So with that said, so Sissy, will you please share with us what happened with your brother, if you don't mind?
He was shot in a drive-by shooting that was meant for someone else.
And where was he at the time?
He was standing on the corner on the block that we stayed on. And somebody came past shooting up the whole block. And him and one of his friends got hit, but the other guy survived. He only got hit in the leg and a graze wound somewhere else. I don't remember where.
Okay. Can you share with me how you felt during that time?
The same way I feel now.
The same way you feel now. And you said that happened in 2017? Okay. So we're about 2 years later.
I still feel lost. I still miss him. I still don't understand. There's still a lot of questions being raised. Not a lot of police activity and help with the matters. I don't know. I just don't understand it.
And I think that's important that, people understand that yes, you're not the only one. If you're out there and you're still missing a loved one that you lost, that all because it's been, 30 to 60 days, 120 days, a year, 2 years, that it's okay that you still feel what you feel, which is you may not have had closure. You may not, may not feel like you understand, what it was that you experienced, because when you go through a life, a life with an individual, especially those ones that you grew up around, they was there, when you were kids, and to have them to be, taken from you, and you didn't get a chance to say goodbye. You didn't get a chance to, you know, tell them you love them. Even if you wanted to, say something mean to them, at least you would have got a chance to get it off your chest. You didn't get any type of closure. That, yeah, it does leave a hole. It does leave, a place of you feeling, you know, empty, feeling like something, I don't even know how to explain it. I had a stepfather that was really key. And I went through so much as a child. Um, I was abused. I was abused sexually, not by my stepfather. Please, let's get that straight. Not by my stepfather, um, by other men in the family. And my stepfather, because he was a man, I felt like he was going to do the same thing. And I waited and waited, for that, and he never did. There was times when, my mom would leave him in the home with us. you know, and he can be laying on the couch, and I kid you not, from the time she left, he was on the couch and he never moved, never walked the house, anything. He stayed right there on that couch until she returned. And although he stayed right there on that couch until he returned, my heart was always racing because I had went through so much and I always expected it to happen. But it never happened. And this is from the time I was a little girl all the way up until junior high. He's always respected me. But when you have trust issues and when you're scared out of your mind of someone hurting you, taking advantage of you, because other people have, you don't, you know, you have a tendency to put a fear there that's, you know, that's not even warranted. And so I came home from school one day. I wasn't even actually, while I was at school, I was picked up from school, and my brothers and I was told that he was murdered. That year was the first year that I actually got a Father's Day card for him. That year was going to be the first year I actually tell him that I loved him. And I never got a chance to because he was taken before I had that opportunity. And so now I have to live with that every day, knowing that I had so many years with him, but I was so afraid of him and so afraid because of everything I had been through that he would hurt me, that I never even took the time to tell him that I loved him. And I never took the time to actually get the chance to call him dad. I think I still have that birthday card right today back at my home in California. So when when you're dealing with losses or when you're dealing with death, depending on your situation and your relationship with that person, it has its own life. It has its own journey in how that death or that loss affects you. And so that's one of the reasons I feel that people handle death differently. And that's the reason I feel that death and your relationship with it is based on your relationship with that person and whom you lost. So, Sissy, I'm sorry, Keisha, would you share with us how was it for you to see your best friend going through the loss of her brother?
It was hard. It was tough because I don't like seeing her in that predicament as far as being sad and her feelings about certain things. I knew how much of an influence her brother was to her, so it was a little crazy. You know, I think they was like probably the only two siblings that really got along real good. I mean, I ain't saying the other siblings didn't, but I knew how strong their relationship was and how she felt about Wu. So when it happened, it was just like it was unbelievable, unbearable. Like this has to be a joke. Like it was wild.
I know for me, when my CC called me up, I remember I was laying across the bed and I was ready to just lay into her because we're so goofy. I mean, I'm a kid at heart. I'm goofy, but she's ridiculous. she's really goofy. And then she had a new thing that she had just started trying. Yeah. And so and so she would call me and I could hear a difference in her. I could talk to her and she's like, yeah. And so when she called me, I was, looking to hear, listening to hear for that, effect,
She was pretty.
And immediately when, I answered the phone, I instantly heard, Sissy, it's going. She just, oh my gosh, the weight of her pain, it hit me so hard. I could not, I felt myself gasping because she was gasping. She was hurting and her pain was so real. It was so real. It was ripping me. I literally had to cover my face with a pillow and I was trying to hear her, like hear, what her words were, but her pain was, drowning out her words. And I'm just like, I felt helpless. I'm like, what is it? What is it? What is it? I just wanted to know, just like, tell me, and she was trying to tell me, but her pain was so heavy, so heavy. And I had the pillow over my face and I was crying. I couldn't even control myself because she was hurting me with her pain. That's how much her pain, that's how heavy her pain was. And when she finally was able to catch her breath enough to just get it out and say, Woo was gone. I never even had the chance to meet Woo. Never had the chance to meet Woo. All I knew was through her conversations, her constant conversations and sharing with me different things that had went on in her life in regards to Wu and things that Wu had did, for her and her family and for the kids in her family, as time had went on, that's how I knew him. And so when I was listening to her sharing with me about her loss, it was just like Keisha said, it was so unreal. It was Wu's big. I always thought that's the way I felt about him. I didn't know him, but I knew that Wu was big. Wu was a huge loss. I mean, this guy he was like glue for the family. And so it was hard to hear her suffering through that. And I remember getting off the phone with her and I cried. Not because I knew Wu, but I cried because of the part of the spirit that my sister had lost. I grieved for her spirit, the loss of her spirit. It hurt so bad because this girl right here, oh my gosh, when I tell you silly and laugh, oh my gosh, she has such an infectious laugh. And to hear her broken the way she was, and that was the first time I ever heard my sister broken, but to hear her broken the way she was, it was painful. It was extremely painful. Sissy, I have a question for you. I had the opportunity to be face to face with one of the ladies who is said to be responsible for my brother's death. I hugged her and I forgave her. Would you have done the same?
Listen, there's just certain things you should not ask me online.
No. Like I share with you guys, we did not, this is not pre-recorded. It was not practiced or anything. And I'm not one of those people that judge, and I'm not perfect. And I don't try and tell people, how to behave or whatever. So Sissy, just your truth.
No, I wouldn't.
Can you please share how you probably would have reacted?
Listen, honey, I can't answer that question. You don't know how you react until you're faced with the situation. I don't feel like I would have had it in me to give a murderer a hug, though, because you did something so senseless, so selfish, had no regards for nobody else's life, but I'm supposed to shake your hand and pat you on your ass. when I feel like the situation probably should have been reversed just off your mindset and your actions, because he was nothing like you. So no, I'm not giving nobody a pass. I'm not accepting an apology. I'm not doing none of that. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Keisha, you want to respond to that?
I went right behind her. She rocking, I'm rolling.
Okay. Some people would have you to believe after as little as a week or as long as 30 days, you should be over the loss of your loved one. How do you feel about that?
I've had people tell me that I should be over it and oh, that's your brother and he's gone and you should be living, and I done heard a mixture of it all. I don't feel like that. You can't tell somebody how to heal. You can't tell somebody how long it takes to heal.
You
And
can't tell nobody how to feel.
you can't, exactly, you can't tell nobody how to feel. You can't address a situation that you've never been a part of. So many, and it comes from the people whose family members are still here. So you don't know how it feels. And even if they are gone, you don't know how it feels for somebody to murder someone, shoot them down like a dog in the street, senseless. And it what's worse is it wasn't even meant for him. How can you say, oh, it wasn't meant for him, it was meant for somebody else? So you still had no regards because you were still preparing to do the same senseless thing to somebody else. So I would still feel the same way. You wouldn't have gave a damn if it was my brother, his brother, her brother, the world. You were still going to be senseless. That I cannot forgive.
Okay. And if you notice that I'm just asking the questions and giving her the opportunity to answer, and I'm really not going, back and forth with our answers because everybody's entitled to how they feel. Like I said, the whole point of this was to share that people handle death and losses differently. And so, for those of you that feels like someone should have, that I should have moved on. It's been some time now. I should have just pretty much stepped over the death of my brother and moved forward. And just as I share with you, that's not something that I'm able to do. And in regards to knowing that there's going to be, potentially others that are going to be, as my sister used, senseless, I say maliciously murdered. Um, I don't feel like that's something that you just step over. You don't just step over and keep moving past it and allow those individuals that are, doing these acts to continue to um, demonstrate such malicious, behavior in society and take out our loved ones and kill our loved ones. And we the ones who have to suck it up and deal with it. Raise your head and just keep going, keep living. Until when? Until it's somebody else. Until it's another loved one. Until it's a neighbor down the street, around the corner. Until it's one of our classmates' children or one of our classmates. In order for these things to stop, someone has to say it's not okay. Someone has to say, hey, we need some help here. We need someone to pay close attention. We need someone to actually be aware of this situation so that we can try and get the bad guys out and add more good guys in. So let's go on to the next question. Do you feel like you experienced an onset of depression due to the loss of your brother? Why or why not?
Absolutely. I still have depressed moments. I found myself locked up in the house, in the room. I don't want to do nothing. I found myself even not going to work, and that's just not me. I didn't know how to deal with people. I didn't know how to talk to people. Everything struck a nerve. If you said something about my brother, if you made a comment in regards to the situation as if you knew what you were talking about, I took it as total and blatant disrespect. Like, I didn't know how to deal with society, so I didn't. I think a big part of me getting through it probably was Kayshawn. It He forced me to get out the house. Him, Kayshawn, no, Antonio, and they forced me to get out the house. I had a couple other friends that tried. But I had to learn how to talk to people again. Cause Kayshawn will tell you, I didn't. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't want to be around anybody. I didn't want to hear anything negative. I didn't want to hear anybody opinions on the situation who can't relate to it. Because anything I said, they people would feel like I was wrong or I should feel like that or I should let stuff go or and I didn't want to hear none of that. So I just chose to distance myself and deal with those who allowed me to be myself until I came back to.
Okay, Sean, did you notice her depression?
Yeah.
What did you notice?
She wasn't herself. It wasn't what I was used to. It wasn't what I was comfortable with. So, I mean, I had to do what I had to do as a best friend. I mean, I couldn't tell her how to feel, but at the same token, she just wasn't finna be no house potato and just ride. Wow. Nothing like that.
How do you feel now? Do you feel like you're completely over the depression?
No.
She'll never. She'll never be over that. My uncle been dead 15 years, and I still have depressed moments about that. And I was 11 when he passed away, and everything. And 26 now.
I
So
I personally don't think I will ever be over it.
you're not.
I think
You're never gonna go nowhere.
because now he was that type of person that was so proud of me and so proud of my accomplishments and oh my god.
It's okay.
That now I feel like any little good thing, if I don't have him there to cheer me on and be that support, I don't want to do it. And that's how I feel. Like now I can't imagine myself getting married and my brother not meeting him. I can't imagine myself having a kid and him not meeting him. I can't imagine none of that. So it makes it hard because now I don't want to be a part of stuff like that.
I'm sorry. I think what Keisha said was really important, in regards to him sharing that it's been 11 years since he lost a loved one and he still feels it right today. A lot of times when we lose people who really, really influence, our lives, who are, as my sister shared, they're our cheerleaders, they're some of our biggest fans, you know, and they could be, even a reminder, why you should keep pushing it, in life, whatever your connection is with them and the reason in which you're not ready to let them go or the reason you feel like, you really need to continue to hold on to them. Um, Whatever that reason is your reason. And it's something that that they imprinted in you, that they shared. There was a piece of them that they shared with you that you found to be so significant and so important to where, holding on to it still gives you a sense of, I don't want to say wholeness, but a sense of peace. Just knowing that you're still holding on to that much of them. So in regards to those people that are sharing with people that they have to let go of people, their loved ones or whatever, and expect them to just step over that situation, step over that loss, step over that death and move on. Um, I would like to encourage you to instead pray for those individuals because you're harming them more than you are helping them by trying to dismiss what is so real to them as far as their feelings and their emotions. The loss of a loved one, that emotion is real. It's not a created, feeling. It's not something that they're just imagining there. It's not something that they're just saying exists. It exists. The pain is real. So let's see, Sissy. Do you think, have you ever dealt with a death that you was able to immediately put behind you?
Not really. I just feel like this one is the longest.
Okay. What about you, Kesha?
I don't feel like you never put a death behind you, but it's more so how someone's death affect you more than the other. Because you probably could lose a cousin, and I ain't gonna necessarily tell you just quickly put it behind you, but you kind of start coping with life again more quicker and easier versus your mother or your brother or a close relative. It just, especially when you have a tight bond like y'all grew up together or that's just your go-to or it won't be the same and ain't even nothing you can do about it. It's not the same. You don't, them type of people don't affect you as far as like everybody else does.
Okay. So, and I want to say, just for those that are like me, for those family members and friends that are like me, those losses that are like me, and what I mean like me, meaning that are not perfect. You know, I had one of the individuals that was associated with my brother's death to, highlight his imperfections on Facebook, you know, and um, after highlighting his imperfections on Facebook, they then tried to tie in to the fact of because of his imperfections that we should not, that like they were doing us a favor by taking his life. I don't care how much a person is seen as being an imperfect person in someone else's eyes. Trust me, they have family members that love them regardless. I am sure that they have journeyed across this world and crossed paths with someone that loves them. And as for my brother, we loved him so much. We loved him so much, even with his imperfections. And for you, young lady, because I do know you're looking at my videos, because your family member actually responds to some of my videos when she reaches out to me. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry for you. If your family make you feel like they don't love you because of your imperfections, if your family makes you feel like just because you don't think like they think, just because you don't act like they act, just because you don't walk like they walk, look like they look, that they don't love you, that is so far from our truth. My brother, I don't care how much money he had in his pocket. You couldn't get him to buy a Michael Kors, Louis Vuitton, Guess, whatever. He'd rather spend his money on something else. He'd rather get his hands dirty than to try and sit up in an office job. And yes, he did work for the court system. Yes, Union County Courthouse. He worked for the court system. But nobody would ever know that, right? So in regards to you, and you feeling like because you were able to identify some of his imperfections, we were able to identify those imperfections too. But we still loved him in spite of. And I'm sorry that someone didn't love you the same way too. Because if they had, you wouldn't have felt like it would have empowered you to list his imperfections after his death in order to get some type of satisfaction. Facebook friends and family, keep loving your loved ones and your family members with imperfections. As a matter of fact, love them more. And by the way, P.S., God loves people with imperfections, or he wouldn't have made so many. He loves all of us. And he does not require us to be perfect.
That's why Jesus died for our sins.
So, Sissy, do you have anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah.
No?
You made me cry enough on Facebook.
I'm sorry. It was definitely not my intentions. Isha, do you have anything else you want to share?
Peace, love, and soul.
All right, you guys. In wrapping up, I just want to share that I appreciate you guys for your time. And again, for those of you that feels like, loss and death is something that you can just step over and move past, you know what? If you're not the one that's going through it, then take a seat and give us a chance to get through it. And by the grace of God, we will. But it's our journey, and we need to do that as in a healthy and in a in whatever timely manner that we need to do it in. And the most you can do is just be there, be nurturing, be loving, and be a friend. But telling us to get over it and get past it, that's not helping us. And it's probably going to put some distance between you, and it's going to put some distance between us, because we realize that you're not healthy for us.
A few of them trying to come back.
She said a few of them trying to come back, where she put some distance between them. But at any rate, I love you guys. Thank you so much for your time. And this is us signing out. Be blessed. Oh, yes. And we will go back to getting more and more of the images. I'm still working on them. But since these guys were in town, I did want to do this. So.
No, you ain't going to blame us on this. Bye, Facebook.
Bye, you guys.